2.7's banners are looking absolutely legendary, so it can be hard to decide who to spend your precious Stellar Jades on. So today, I aim to help you decide who to spend your hard-earned Stellar Jades on, evaluating who will get you the most bang for your buck depending on your account setup. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. Kicking things right off with our gloriously Heavenly King Sunday, he is going to be ridiculously valuable in the upcoming patches. 3.0 is going to be introducing us to a brand new meta, which Sunday is most likely preparing us for, and I expect that this man dedicated to the word of the order to be equally as meta-defining as Robin during that time. He features summon-specific buffs, and while a roster of characters who deal in summons as of now is pretty small, my personal prediction is that it's going to expand rapidly with the brand new Remembrance path. We don't know whether this is true or not yet, but I think we can put 2 and 2 together considering that Sunday's kit is so summons-focused. I expect that pretty much all of the major 3.0 releases are going to use him. You know how Firefly basically isn't a character without raw Mei? It's probably going to be like that for most 3.0 characters wanting Sunday, so to prepare for the future meta, I would absolutely opt for this guy. Obviously, don't feel pressured to pull for a character you don't want if you're not interested in him, as there will most likely be alternatives in the future, but as it stands, he's going to be the absolute prime choice for all summons-based units. However, I'm sure that you may be skeptical. After all, you're not here to play Honkai Future Rail, you want to know what his current value is. Well, he's gonna be a huge Jing Yuan buff. His Lightning Lord counts as a summon, and because the lad provides such powerful buffs to those, you can expect the Lawfu General to finally find his way back into the meta. Took Hoyo long enough to fix the guy, so if you're like me who has an E0 S1 Jing Yuan who has maxed out traces with a good build, but benched him because his meta position left a lot to be desired, it's time to pick him back up again. The only other major summons character in the meta right now is Topaz, however she's a sub DPS and Sunday only buffs one on-field unit at a time, so the only way you can make her benefit from his release is by running Hypercarry Topaz. That's obviously not going to be anywhere near as strong as simply using an actual main carry, but if your deck collector is at E1 S1, then you can actually expect the damage dealt to be somewhat palatable. Outside of summon-based teams, much like Robin outside of follow-up attack-based teams, he will still be a great generalist support. They truly are of the same blood, it seems. Sparkle's being thrown into retirement with this guy, and hypercarry characters are generally going to be enjoying his introduction into the game. Jing Liu mains, strap in, it's time for your revenge. I will say that unlike Robin, Sunday does lose a lot more when he's not played with summons units, as he loses a lot of his buffs, whereas his sister mostly just has her energy economy worsen when played outside of follow-up attack teams. So if you can play him with summons units, then do so, since it will be a lot better. The double Heaven duo has some potential as well. Robin Sunday will most likely be Jing Yuan's new best team core upon his arrival, and I seriously hope to see the sibling team core be an impressive combo going into the future. Both of those characters are already must-pulls in terms of the meta, but it'd be cute to see them become must-pulls so they could reunite on the battlefield. We'll have to see if future teams want this core, but Jing Yuan definitely does. That's most likely gonna be for certain. Even outside of summons teams, this guy will be good. Easily going to become an S-tier support upon release, and he will most likely become the best character in the game in 3.0 if the meta is what I think it's going to be. SS plus tier in the value rankings. I hate declaring must pulls because some people just won't want the character, but it'd be disingenuous of me to say that he's not. He is as integral to an account as Robin or Raw Mei, and he will become better than those two in 3.0 if my predictions are correct. Pull for him if you can. Next up, we've got our lovely General of the Jianzhou Lawfu. So the nice thing is that typically when this guy is brought up, it's not exactly in a positive light. For once, we can talk about this guy and it isn't just me completely trashing on him. Because Sunday is gonna save him. Now that we're finally getting a summon-specific buffer, his damage is gonna be good enough to justify using him again. He'll return in Pure Fiction as a valid option, and is generally seeing a massive upgrade in value thanks to this. Double Heaven will probably become his new best-in-slot team, and there will at least be a valid reason to use this guy again. However, if you're not pulling for Sunday, avoid this guy like the plague. He does really underwhelming damage in comparison to other DPS options, and he's never really been on top of the meta outside of his release window. People have been begging for him to get buffed for a long time for a reason. He's King Yuan with the Order Lad, but then will most likely turn into Poop Yuan when you don't use them together. Another thing to consider is that Aglia is coming up, who is a lightning unit. Be careful here, Jing Yuan is absolutely going to have a spot on the map again, but for how long exactly? He's a pretty old unit. However, he's extremely popular, so I suppose Hoyo was trying to make him good. Even so, Aglia might totally destroy him upon her arrival. We don't know what she does yet officially, so perhaps she's not a DPS and all's well that ends well, but considering the nature of Honkai Star Rail power creep, can you blame me for not exactly trusting Hoyo here? So while he is indeed becoming more valuable, I'd actually skip him here. The DPSs in 3.0, even if they aren't Aglia, will most likely be Sunday users that are 99% guaranteed to outdamage Jing Yuan. Him getting buffed into being good is more so good news for us who already have him well built with his main light cone. I'm dropping the lad into A tier when it comes to the value charts for this patch. He's absolutely gonna feel great with Sunday, don't get me wrong, but there is no way that he's staying good after we get a couple of 5-star Morpheus units. Next up, we've got Fugue. This Foxian beauty is tailor-made for break DPSs. If you pulled for Rappa, then feel very, very lucky because she's going to be your de facto best insult support. The ninja was a much better DPS than I expected her to be, honestly, especially in her peak scenarios, so Fugue is going to help push her to the next level, as if she wasn't at the next level already. If you thought Imaginary Week content was a breeze before, then oh boy, the party's not over yet, that's for sure. So all Rappa enjoyers, rejoice as Fugue is here. I'm not sure how important break is going to be in the upcoming meta. It was so prevalent throughout the Penaconian era of Honkai Star Rail, so I sort of expected to take a backseat for a little while, but that's just my prediction. Fugue is one last hurrah to the super break niche, so if you're somebody that really wants their break units to succeed going into the 3.0 meta, definitely pick up Fugue. Firefly's also getting a huge leg up for introduction into the game, which as a big Firefly enjoyer myself, I'm super stoked about that. Both are fire types, so you'll have 3 fire types in your team, including both Gallagher or Linkshot breaking down enemy defenses. She's going to upgrade the mecha's already nuclear numbers into something 100 times more radioactive, so to all my fellow Firefly fans here, we haven't been left in the ashes. I do expect her to jump right into S tier as well. She's buffing 2 absolutely incredible DPSs and will be keeping break teams on the map for a while, so we take our time exploring the new Remembrance niche. In fact, I expect us to feel like both Rappa and Firefly are somewhat overtuned for a short while until the new DPSs start trickling in, because I believe Hoyo was trying to scale them up to the level of future 3.0 characters. Even outside of break, she's a new nihility for Acheron, fellas. She won't be as insane as Jiao Cho by any means, but if you're one of the many people who skipped the Foxman for Fei Xiao, then she will be better to use in these teams over not using her there at all. So if you pulled Acheron in 2.6 and we're waiting for some good E0 supports to roll around, then there you have it. S tier in the value rankings for this patch. She is incredibly high potential, but I doubt that she'd be Sunday tier simply because 3.0 is most likely gonna be such a big deal for him. Even if you do have Firefly or Rappa, you'll be fine as long as you have Ruan Mei for them. Sunday's a bigger focus this time around, if I'm being brutally honest. Then, like fireflies to a flame, she returns to the flame with a 2.7 rerun roster. Amazing. Amazing. Fantastic DPS unit. The real question is, should you get her when Rappa exists? In my opinion, yes, because she'll be better than the ninja in non-Imaginary Week scenarios. Rappa is literally crazy, don't get me wrong, but outside of Imaginary Week content, while she is still absolutely really competent, she does fall off a decent bit, whereas Firefly can implant fire weaknesses, so she can work in every single scenario. She's insanely good in both MOC and AS, but a little bit copium in PF without Link Shaw. Her damage is incredibly formidable even as of now, with an excellent Stellar Jades based investment path. If you need a crazy good fire DPS, then calling this character good is an understatement. With Fugue, she'll be obtaining a legendary boost in damage too, so Firefly fans are staying winners of this one. The only time I would not recommend her is if you do not have Ruan Mei. She is such an integral part of this lady's teams, and she feels significantly worse without her. Skip literally every single break DPS until you have a Ruan Mei. That's how bad this situation is. She's also ridiculously easy to build and improve, which is nice. Woman only asks for break effect and speed. I've personally been trying to upgrade my Fei Xiao and Firefly relics as of late, and my Firefly's already infinitely better, meanwhile my Fei Xiao has barely received any upgrades. It's so darn easy to upgrade her stats thanks to how little she asks for. Critless units, my beloved. So as long as you have Ruan Mei, she is a fantastic recommendation for any account. She will cover the scenarios that Rappa cannot, and will utterly decimate all content in front of you. You can't even make the she might fall off in 3.0 argument because Fugue is rolling around. I will say that if you have Rappa, I'd rather just pull for Fugue than wait for the 3.0 DPSs since there's no point in having both of them to be honest. But either way, I can say that she's a safe pull for any account no matter the circumstance. S tier behind Fugue in the value charts. Such a good DPS that I can fully endorse. Not a must pull, I'd prioritize Sunday first, or Fugue if you already have Rappa, but this character is absolutely excellent. It's honestly very hard to pick this time around because all of the characters have value now, but I'm gonna continuously recommend Sunday to everybody who asks who they should pull for, because I have a super strong feeling that he's going to define the entire 3.0 meta. Of course, there will be alternatives in the future, the same way how there's alternatives for Robin in many teams that use her. But with that being said, because the summons meta is gonna be such a new thing, I'd say better safe than sorry. Safer to get who I am guessing will probably be the best in slot support for the Remembrance niche, as opposed to winging it entirely in my opinion. Obviously, we don't know what Remembrance will do yet, but come on, we can put 2 and 2 together. Just look at Sunday's kit. Let me know who you'll be pulling for down below in the comments. Hopefully this video was able to tell you who'd get you the best bang for your Stellar Jades in version 2.7. This has been Juice, signing out, and just wait for 4.0 where the main meta-defining support is called Friday or Calendar or something.